So, you want to learn how to do marketing for lawn care. There's a lot of ways you can go with this. There's a lot of basic steps, there's a lot of bigger steps, and everything in between. So let's dive into this in this video, and I will show you everything that I can from my experience, things that I have done, things that have worked for me, things that haven't, the best strategies that have worked for me, and then at the same time we'll discuss a few things that a lot of other people have given me feedback on. People in my area, along with people all over the country that I've talked to via phone, social media, whatever, and discussed a lot of different strategies they've tried using and implementing in their business over the years, and whether they have or have not worked. Now, before we go any further into this, a lot of people have been searching for this information. I've looked all over the internet, I've checked Google, YouTube, and I've just done a little research on the search engine to see if these are common topics that people are looking for, and apparently they are, and they're in high demand, this information, along with previous videos I made about starting a business as a new lawn care person and when to raise prices, things like that. And I will be putting more videos on different topics that all relate to that up in the near future. So if this is information that you find valuable and you've enjoyed these videos, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell next to subscribe and you won't miss each one that I put up. Now, what I'm going to attempt to do is go over a wide variety of things here, and I'm going to try to not make this video too long. I know that in past experience a lot of people veer away from the long videos, but there's so much information here and so much to pack in. And like I mentioned in my other couple videos that all relate to this topic, the starting the business, the when to raise your prices, this is geared more toward the new guy starting off, first year. Maybe you have a year or two in business and you're just at a slump and you want to go to that next level. It can also help guys that have been doing this for years, and sometimes, you know, maybe they need new ideas and new tips. I learn every year different ideas and different things I can do, not only with marketing but all aspects of my business. So that being said, let's get into this and let's cover this as quickly as we can, but as informative as we can. Now, you'll have to excuse the mess you see in the background around me. This at one time was my office for my business down in my basement, but I have so much stuff down here and I rarely come down here anymore other than to do, you know, some things that I would get into and I will show you. Most everything is done on my laptop now, and I can sit in the comforts of wherever else in my house. But first and foremost, you need a logo, you need a brand. Now, you can pay someone to do that for you. You can go online and you can search templates for logos and brands, and you need to design something that's for you, for the name of your company. I highly suggest trying to be original and try to be something that's going to stand out, something that's going to stick. Now, everybody in my area, not everybody, the majority of everybody in my area uses their name, so it's like Bob's Lawn Care. Well, that's, people see that on every corner. Try to come up with something different is my encouragement on this, and try to do something, you know, something that's going to stand out. Now, there are a lot of guys that have used their last name for their business and have grown extremely large companies, and that is very, very possible. That can happen. I'm not saying it won't work, but in my experience and my suggestion to you is try to come up with something different. Now, I know if you look and do an internet search, you can find countryside lawn care in all other states. But there's nothing like that in my state. It's just not here. I believe there's actually one on the far side of my state. I am all the way over on the west side of New York State, and all the way over near New York City there's a countryside landscaping, and but they're way away from me, so I stand out. Now, that being said, when you start looking at free templates online, be careful. They're not always original ideas or original designs, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. When I first started off in this business, I paid somebody to design me a logo or like a brand, but with my business name in mind, and I'm going to show you the first thing in this marketing is going to be EDDM, every door direct mailers. Now, what you can do is you go on Vistaprint. I'm going to use that a lot. That's where most companies get everything from. They're the cheapest usually as far as business cards. You can get signs, you can get shirts, you can get everything and anything from them. And I've used them many times over the years. But I took my logo that this guy designed for me, and I went on and I had a ton of business cards and a ton of every door direct mailers print it out for me, and what you do is you go on the post office website and you create an account, and then you can bring up maps of your area, and it'll tell you how many houses are along that route or how many businesses are along that route, and you can select which routes you want to target, which helps you select what neighborhoods you want to target. I can't give you the exact prices. I haven't done it in years, so I don't remember exactly what it cost, but when you weigh it out, and the return that you usually get in most areas is usually pretty good. Now, that being said, here is an example of one of my first Every Door direct mailers. It's a big postcard. They put the postage and everything right on the back, so you pay for it. Once you have these made, you have, you know, U.S. postage paid, EDDM retail printed on the back there, and then when you go to the post office, you have to pay them and you drop these off to them, or you can pay for it using your account online. Now, if any of you guys have been around the internet long enough for lawn care, you will know that my logo right there is the same as Johnny from Blades of Grass in Georgia. This logo was pulled off of a free template website when the guy I paid designed this for me. Now, I figured if I paid him, he'd be a little more original, come up with his own, but that's what he gave me, and I really liked it. And at one point, Johnny had gotten a hold of me and said, hey, you know there's a copyright on that logo? And so I told him where I'd gotten it from, and I said, I'm going to change it, I'm going to get rid of it. And he said, no, as long as you don't come to Georgia, I don't care. And you know, so obviously I didn't plan on moving my business or expanding my business to Georgia, so it wasn't a big deal, but I didn't like the fact that somebody else had it, so I changed it. Now, Every Door direct mailers is a great way to go, and return on investment is usually pretty decent in most areas, but that can change. Now I'm going to kind of combine two things here, and it's going to be like shirts, clothing, hats, so on and so forth, along with yard signs, and I'm going to combine them for a reason. A lot of people look at marketing as they have to print out a flyer, they have to print out a mailer, they have to, you know, advertise on a billboard, in a phone book, so on and so forth, but they forget other things such as your shirt. Now, when I'm out mowing every day, I don't often wear hats, but when I do, it's usually a hat with my company name on it, and then it has my business name on the front and my business name on the back. I also have sweatshirts, I have jackets, windbreakers, heavy winter jackets, so on and so forth, that all have my name on it. So it is a very good way to market your business, because people see you everywhere. If you're mowing a lawn, if you're mowing a commercial property, and people drive by, they see that name. You know, if they look at that yard while you're mowing it and they see how good it looks and they really like what they see, and they're thinking, I'd like to have that done at my house, or my guy doesn't make my yard look that nice, and they look for a name, they start looking around, and they see that name right on your shirt when they look right at you, nice and big and right there. That is a huge way to market your business, so don't ever rule that out. Now, on the same note, I never do it without asking. I always ask permission first, but in high traffic areas or busier streets, I will put out yard signs. Here is just an example of one of my yard signs. Now, very simple, I don't overload it, because when you overload it, you got to cram stuff on there. And when people are flying by, they don't have time to read all that, and they can't see all that quickly. They're not going to pull their eyes off the road that long. So very simple, very to the point, my name, my phone number, that's it. Or you can make it as simple as lawn care and your phone number. And that's it, nice and simple, big, they can read it, and it is another huge way of marketing. Now, the reason I combine those two together is because for years I was paying a company at the beginning of every season to make me all new shirts. When I had employees, they were making all new shirts every year, because they get trashed each year. Hoodies, sweatshirts, hats, so on and so forth. And I got sick of spending all that money. So what I did is I took a one-time plunge, and I spent the money. I went on Amazon, I think it was just under $800, and I bought this vinyl cutter. It'll print up to a 3-foot wide cutout vinyl, and this heat press. Now, buying those, they came as a kit off Amazon, like I said, just under $800 with a program. I had no idea how to use it, so of course I turned to YouTube and I started watching a ton of videos. I figured out how to use that program, and I took my logo from my computer, put it into that program, and I started running everything off. I did everything from shirts, and I make them every year. As a matter of fact, I just got the stuff to make them again this year. I order vinyl online. You can do it very cheap. And I got rid of that huge cost I was spending every year, which is a huge help when you're trying to balance out money for marketing each year. Now, going back to what I mentioned about Vistaprint, you can have them print you out business cards. They're insanely cheap. You can usually get like 200 of them, 300 of them, so on and so forth for like $10. My tip to you, there's a trick with Vistaprint, and what you need to do is once you design whatever you want on there, whether you want business cards, flyers, every door direct mailers, whatever it is, whatever you're having Vistaprint do for you, go all the way through the whole process, right up to the last point where you're at the cart and you're ready to check out, close out. Leave it sit there for a day to 2 days. As soon as that stuff sits in that cart for a day to 2 days, they will start blowing up your email with coupon codes, 10% off, 20% off. I've even gotten them for 50% off. All you have to do is leave it sitting there for a day or two, and they will start blowing up your email. Happens all the time. I've talked to 100 people that have also used Vistaprint. Same thing. I've given them the same advice, and it's worked every time. So that is a huge, huge thing to help you save money. Now, with that, I had a ton of business cards printed out, and I had a ton of pens made up. I had them made very cheaply. I did not use Vistaprint for pens. I think I used cheappens.com or something along those lines. There's a million websites for them, and I ordered a box of like 1,000 pens. And what I started doing is, every time I would go to an ATM, I walk in the front doors of a bank, there's an ATM right there, I would leave 2-3 pens stacked up along the top. Or the little counter where you sign checks, I would leave a whole bunch of pens laying up there. The bank doesn't care because their pens always get stolen. So they don't care that you're leaving pens out there. And I would leave the pens out there and people would take them. Everybody loves to take pens. They'd pick them up. Business cards, I'd stick a couple on the side of the ATM. I'd go in pizza shops and usually an advertisement board, throw a couple business cards up on there, but it's very competitive. Everybody does that. So what I would do is I would leave them lay on a counter somewhere, the business cards, or I'd take pens and I'd walk into a pizza shop where, you know, people go in and get their lunch and they sign the slip if they use a card, and there's a little thing of pens sitting right next to the register usually. I would go in and put 10-15 of them right inside that cup holder, and it was worth every penny because people would pick them up like crazy. They'd steal them, they'd take them, you know, and that got my name out there. That, you know, they'd be home at somebody's house and people would pull them out of their pockets and throw them on the counter. Their friends or family would come over and see them laying there, and they'd pick it up and read, oh, Countryside Lawn. That got my name out there. Before long, everybody knew who I was. So that was really big and worth every penny of it. Now, flyers. Let's touch on flyers. This has always been a very touchy subject for me, and I've talked to people that this has worked for in the past. Myself, I've had a very, very bad experience with flyers, and a few other people I've talked to have told me, I don't know what's going on in your area, they've worked great for me. The majority of people I've talked to have had nothing but bad experience. Now, the thing you have to remember with flyers is usually new guys will go that route because it's the cheapest and the easiest. You can literally design a flyer on your computer and run off 1,000 of them through your printer, or design them on your computer and put it on a disk or a memory stick and take it to Office Max or wherever, and they'll run off 1,000 for you. You can do them online. Like Vistaprint, again, will do them insanely cheap. The problem with flyers is almost every area across the United States, it is against the law to put anything in, on, attached to a mailbox. The mailbox, even though you bought it and put it up at your street, that is federal property. You are not allowed to do anything to that mailbox. You start going down the street and you stick it in between the mailbox and the flag, and a lot of people have told me, oh, that's legal, you just can't put it inside. I'll tell you exactly how I know that is not the case in my area. You can put it in the newspaper box. You can stick them in there all day long. 9 times out of 10, most people these days don't even get a newspaper, and they don't even look in there, and they end up blowing around the neighborhood. And when neighbors pick them up and it's garbage, they're already pissed that they had to pick that up out of their yard. There's garbage in their yard. They see your name on there, you already put a bad taste in their mouth. So when I first got into business, I made tons of those flyers, and I put them in between the flag and the mailbox all over, all different kinds of neighborhoods. and I knew you weren't supposed to put them inside, but I didn't know you weren't supposed to put them on the other side. I actually had the postmaster from my area and a sheriff show up at my door with a handful of them in my hand. It pissed a guy off, and he literally went up and down his street and he collected every one of those that he could find. He went to the postmaster. They showed up at my door and they told me you can be fined a hefty fine per flyer. It was so much it cost more than my house for the amount that they brought me. And they said, this is your warning, don't do it again. And I've never done it since. Now, another way that those have been very bad for me is I did that the first year and I stopped doing it. 3 years later, I had a guy call me up and wanted me to come and give him an estimate. So I went there and I gave him an estimate for lawn care, and I had done the every door direct mailers, paid through the post office, they delivered them, and he actually brought it up to me. He said, you know, years ago you flyered my house, my mailbox. And I said, yeah, I did. And I told him, we kind of laughed about it a little bit. He seemed like a really cool guy I could talk to, and I told him what had happened and how I decided to never do that again. And he said, I didn't really care about that. The point that got me was, I know all about flyers. I know how you print them out and how you drive around, you stick them in mailboxes. He said, and the first thing that I thought was, if he skipped out on doing it the right way or going about it the professional way, and this is the route he went, what else is he going to skip out on, or where else is he going to cut corners? He said that may not have been the case, but that's what it made me think. I still have that guy to this day. As a matter of fact, it's in a neighborhood that I've gotten away from because I don't like being in that neighborhood, but I still kept his lawn, and he has been a fantastic customer all these years since. So that's my opinion on flyers. If you want to do it in your area and try it out, go ahead, but be aware. Internet and web design. This is huge, 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 and I can't tell you enough. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you insanely important information that will help you if this is a category you want to go in. Now, it's often been said that if you think it's not important in your area, you are seriously misinformed and you need to reconsider what you're doing. Now, I designed my own website. I love my website. I've gotten criticism by other lawn care companies that have checked it out and decided it was their obligation to give me this negative feedback. However, I've put the word out to all my customers and asked for feedback, and I've gotten nothing but excellent feedback. Now, we're not going to go too much into mine, but I designed it. I did it myself. There are companies all over that will give you an amazing website. They will design it, I mean, extremely professional, and if you're really looking for that, there are a number of guys, like I said, out there that can do that for you. My advice is find Brian Ring Lawn Care on YouTube or on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever, and get a hold of him. He seems to be the top one from what I hear from everybody. He's the guy you want to go to design you a website. Now, as far as SEO, search engine optimization, that decides where you're going to rank. When people go and they type in lawn care on Google search, that is going to determine where you rank and how far down your business is going to be listed as compared to all the other ones in your area. Now, I can't give you too much information on that because I haven't dived into that too much, and it's nothing I ever really concentrate on. I live in a real small town, and other marketing areas have worked excellent for me and have gotten me to the point where I pick and choose my customers. I get rid of a bunch. I don't need the work right now because I am just overloaded and I constantly have to get rid of some, so I concentrate on where that has worked for me, which we'll touch more on in a minute. But if you're looking for information on search engine optimization, on how important websites are for you, on how important the internet in general is for you, I will refer you to G. Packard. Go on YouTube and find G. Packard. He is a wealth of information on how important internet is for your business, websites, and he will help you to get in the direction you want to go. Now, that being said, the one thing I can give you, and it has worked to some degree for me, is when you start your business, you can go on Google, Bing, Yelp, Next, Yext. There's a million different ones, and you can go on there. It takes you like 5-10 minutes on each one, and you can design a free web page. And as soon as you start doing them, you can do 20-30 of them. There's so many different ones. They're all free. That puts you more and more on the internet and spread you out all over. Is another huge thing that will help you with marketing in your area. Now my favorite part, the part that has worked for me, hands down. I have done the Every Door direct mailers. I have done the flyers. You heard about that. I have done the yard signs and still use them to some extent. I have done the business cards. I have done the pens where I've left them around. I don't do them anymore, even though they've all worked phenomenal for me, and this is why. The biggest thing that has worked for me, and this was before I bought my vinyl cutter, my program, all that stuff, I paid and I had my trucks lettered. And when I say lettered, I mean lettered. They are big, except for my dually, because I was limited on space because I knew I was pulling the bed off and putting the dump bed on, which I still have the sides that I can put my logo on, which is still an option that I've been considering. However, my trucks have huge logos on them. The new one, I'm still working out and how I'm going to do it and how I'm going to lay it out, so I haven't done it yet, but I still, just so that there was something on there, put my website across the top of the windshield. Here's a picture of my enclosed trailer, the truck I just sold that has the huge logo, my dually, and then the windshield on the front of my new truck. Okay, just a quick view of the two trucks together, and you're about to see the dually dump truck. Now, it's not huge on this one, but it's definitely big. They're big doors. It takes up the whole door, and you can clearly see my name and my number. Here's the truck I sold last year, and real big. Again, down the side, the number pretty big over the rear wheel well, and there it is with the plow and the salter. Still real big. Everyone can see the name. They can see the number. That's the important thing. The sides of my trailer, I just went real simple and big enough, not too big, but big enough. The name's there, the phone number's there, a couple services down on the bottom, and on the back I went with the name, the phone number, and the email down at the bottom. Nice and simple, but still, again, really big, and you can see. Now here comes the new truck. I don't know how well you could tell across the top of the windshield, but the website is there, and that's going to be real big too. Now, as you just saw, it's there. It's big and you can see it, and time again that has produced more results for me hands down than anything I have ever tried. The biggest thing you need to do and you need to remember in your business is every time that phone rings, you need to be asking that new potential customer, where did you hear about me? You need to know what's working, where your money's going, and where you need to concentrate your money on. If you're spending $500 on Every Door direct mailers, and then you had your truck lettered up, and you get 20 calls that spring, and 18 of them say, oh, I saw you at an intersection. I saw your name real big. I was looking out my window, and you were mowing my neighbor's lawn, and there was your name on the side of your trailer or on your truck, so I wrote down your number. But 2 people tell you that they, oh, Every Door direct mailer, it was in my mailbox. What do you think you should be doing? Get rid of that Every Door direct mailer. You are pissing your money away. It is a waste. You have spent a ton of money on there and you've gotten 2 calls. But you've gotten 18 calls on the truck and trailer. Or at least just the truck. Now, it's usually a pretty decent size cost. I think when I had the black GMC done real big on the sides, I paid right around $1,000 to have them designed, made up, printed, and put on the truck for me. But it was a one-time cost, and I have made thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars off of those logos. So that $1,000 cost was nothing. It was a one-time cost. Now, a lot of guys starting off don't have that money to spend on there. That's why I recommend, if you can afford it, buy the printer, buy the heat press to make your shirts. The program comes with it. Buy it as a kit and start making your own. Vinyl is very cheap when you buy it online. You can buy it in 3-foot, 5-foot, 10-foot, 20-foot, 50-foot rolls, and you can start designing your own. That's a huge thing that I recommend, and mainly for the shirts and to get your vehicle lettered up. There are websites online that can help you with that. They can print them out for you. You can give them the measurements to design your truck, your logo. They'll print them, stick them in a tube where they're rolled up, and they'll mail them to you, and then you have to put them on. But it is huge. It has worked for me hands down. This new truck will get done up. I just haven't decided how I want to do it yet. But it has produced more results the fastest. Now, that being said, some guys go and they get magnets. Some magnets are big. Like my buddy Ryan, he has a smaller set of magnets, which I think are completely useless. And I'm not picking on Ryan or saying they're useless for Ryan, but I think in general they're useless. But his fiance just had him as a present a big set made up, and they are awesome. They are really, really nice. They're huge, you can see them. But his smaller magnets, you can't see it, you can't read it. The colors are dark. He has like dark green on there, and then his business and his information, and people aren't seeing that. When he pulls up to an intersection, you know, you're like squinching your eyes, you're trying to look, you can't see that as much as you can see big letters, big decals. They stand out so much more, and his new magnets will definitely stand out more. I think they're going to work out great for him. I'm not a fan of magnets, mainly because it holds moisture between the magnet and the side of your vehicle, and it will eventually, it's going to destroy the paint on the side of your vehicle. If you have a truck you don't care about, then go ahead. But if you are going to do magnets, I can only recommend to you to have them made large, like the set that Ryan has now, and stay away from the smaller size. You think you can see it, and you're standing there, you're holding it, you're looking at it, you put it on your truck when they come in, you step back and you look and you think, wow, that looks really good, that's real noticeable. But when you're at an opposite side of an intersection and you look across and there's a truck with magnets, can you read that? 9 times out of 10 you can't. You can't see it, so you've wasted your money. You might as well just spend the money and do the vinyl. Alright guys, I know this video has kind of been long-winded, and I'm sorry, but so many people have asked me for marketing video and information that I can give, and this is just an in general video of things I've tried and things that have worked for me and things that haven't worked for me, in my opinions on where you should go and what you should focus your money on. Now every market is different, and like I said, if you're in a big city or a big area and there's a lot of people, I highly recommend that you go find Brian Ring for that website and G Packard for the information on internet and web design marketing, because you're going to need it in a big area. Internet is insanely important. It's important in a lot of areas, but mostly in bigger cities, and it's huge, and I seriously think that that's where you should focus most of it. But if I was going to give you one piece of advice, one sure 100% guaranteed way, no matter where you live, no matter what market you're in, no matter how much competition is there, I would tell you to get your vehicle lettered. Get your truck done, and if you have an enclosed trailer, get that done. There are a few other people on YouTube that have made the big signs and screwed them to the side of an open trailer or the back tailgate of a trailer and made it real big, and it has worked phenomenal for them. But that would be my surefire way to tell you, no matter where you're at, no matter what market, what city, how much competition, that will get you results. I 100% guarantee it. It will, because you're there, you're being noticed, you're being seen, it's clearly visible, and it's a one-time cost, and you have free marketing for the duration of that vehicle or trailer. You pay it once, you're done. Whereas a lot of other things like search engine optimization online, you usually have to pay a monthly fee for it. If you're having pens made up, you have to, once they run out, you're going to have to pay it again to have more. Flyers, you pass them out in the spring, then the following spring you got to have more made up again. Things of that nature. Having the vinyl graphics done on a vehicle is one-time cost, surefire, works every time. Now that being said, I recommend you don't overcomplicate it. Like, you've seen my trucks, you've seen my trailer in this video, and it's pretty much my name and my phone number. The trailer has the internet on the back of it, and it lists a couple services on there. I don't overcomplicate it, because I am a firm believer in KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Because once you start overcomplicating, people have to read through a ton of information to get what they want. They don't care. They don't care who you are. They don't care how long you've been in business. They don't care about anything. They care about what you do and how to contact you and what the cost is. That's what they want to know. Give it to them. Give them what they want. If you want them to call you, make it simple for them. Don't make it difficult. Their lives are already complicated. That's why they're having you do the work. They don't have the time for it, and they need simple. They need to get somebody in there to do the job, and they don't want to jump through hoops to do it. So that's what I have for you guys. That's my bit on marketing, and there are a lot of other facets of marketing, a lot of other avenues you can go, but this is just an in general for, you know, a guy that's been in a couple years or a guy just starting off that needs some tips and some ideas, and this is what I have to give you. Thanks guys, don't forget to subscribe, check out these other videos. I will link right here at the end of the video to starting a business. We'll go with that one. I'll link it to there, and a lot of useful information.